United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty, thank you everyone for being here today. First on the agenda is the agenda approval.
I'll move to approve, no change.
Thank you, Tom.
I'll second.
Thank you, Shar. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public input. We will close public input. Consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I have a question to the gentleman here. I'm sorry, I'm Shar, and your name is?
My name's Rob Braswell.
Hi, Rob. We didn't get financials?
So the financials will not be completed until, let me see what my note says here. At the end of April, financials will be generated. And then that following meeting in May, we'll have our accountant present for that as well.
And so we were used to getting something monthly. Is it your year end or why is there a delay?
You know, I'm not sure. I guess I assumed that these were quarterly reports that were being generated. But you guys did used to get something monthly?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Our accountant is actually in the office today, so when I return, I can talk to her about that and see what may be going on.
Okay, so,
But from what I heard from Angie, is that the report was gonna be generated in April and our accountant would follow up with that, so.
that's under the consent agenda. Do we want to make a note that there's a lot missing?
Yeah, I guess,
Excuse me, the financials are just our agency-wide, not the DW Jones. So the financials that are included, you did get under the consent. It would be the
Okay,
7A where the financials can
thank
be
you. Okay,
discussed.
okay.
Okay?
Thanks for that clarification,
Yes.
Mary.
Mhm.
So then I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
thank you, Shar. And I'll second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's see, we have a public hearing, but that's not till 11:30. So we'll go on to old business, HRA-EDA rental properties.
So now we can talk about, this is where the financial conversation would have been. Just as an FYI for you as well, our contract does say that financials are supposed to be prepared monthly by the 25th.
Okay.
So you might want to just make note of that. The other thing that I did want to bring up with regard to the rental properties is that so far, ICS has gone through all of the buildings and is working on getting the spreadsheet done for us. And in the same time, we've been working on a list of work write-up for the Regency apartments. And right now, what we're looking at doing is replacing all of the common area light fixtures from their mostly fluorescent and trying to get more efficiency LEDs in there. We're looking at replacing all of the flooring in all of the common spaces as well as 3 apartments right now. And then there is significant apartment repairs in 3 of the apartments, so much so that they're not exactly rentable. And so we've had 3 apartments down in that building for quite a while, which is gonna challenge the overall income there. Patio doors, we're looking at including that, but I'm waiting for ICS to give me an assessment. What I've found is that some of the patio doors have been replaced, but they were replaced with a smaller size than what was originally there. And so there's weird boards around the outside, and then they aren't stained, and it aesthetically doesn't look very nice. And so I think even if the doors are in okay shape, aesthetically they don't look very good. And now that we have those really nice new decks, it would be nice to have matching. Anyway, so that's one area. And then the other thing that I'm gonna ask ICS about is that I believe that most of the toilets within that are just like standard from the 1970s, and they aren't like low flow or any of that kind of thing. So I think that for the long-term maintenance of the facility, that swapping out low flow or more water energy efficient units would be a good idea. So to the extent that we can fit that within the major bid, that's another area that I would look at for the overall operations of the building. So my goal is that we'll have that bid all firmed up by the end of the month, and then be able to get bids and really look at potential construction start April, beginning of May, so that we can get, with priority to the apartments, so that we can get those done, re-rented, and then work on the common areas. And that we have more time, it's just the grant timeline that we have to worry about there. But, so that's what I do know about the apartment stuff. And if you have any comments or questions for me, and then we do have the representative from D.W. Jones that we can talk with too as well.
So I understand you don't have all the numbers together, but will the grant hopefully cover everything?
Well, so it's arranged so that there is match required. But you did set aside your 2024 SAHA money.
Yep.
You got $100 and some thousand, so we have that. I just actually gave the county a request to provide that, so we have that available. And then there's $121,000 in grant funds. So in total, we have $221,000. The decks took 58 of that. So then the remainder is available for us to do the repairs. If we have something left after we get these bids, then we can either look at doing more things at Regency or even look at the potential of Cornerstone. Because Cornerstone also, one of the requirements for this funding is low and moderate income households and then rent restrictions. Both of those two facilities fit within those income and eligibility criteria. So if there's anything left, we would look at Cornerstone and see if there's some things that we could do there. Namely, it would be the two-story duplex has common flooring. That probably would be something that would be easy enough to do. So that's the plan I have in place anyway. So.
Sounds good. Thank you. Any other questions on this then, old business? We will then move on to 8A.
Mr. Chair, we can't do 8A until after we've had the public hearing. So we could go to the director's report.
Yeah, or can we have Rob come up and get a couple questions? Come up front here. So I'm assuming you're either new to us or you're new to D.W. Jones too?
I'm not new to D.W. Jones. I've been with D.W. Jones for 4 years now, but my previous properties were all up in the Thief River Falls area. So, well, Thief River Falls, Crookston, East Grand Forks. And as of February 2nd, I've given all those up and I've taken 20 new properties. So all of Park Rapids, Sebeka, Monaga, and then Bemidji, Red Lake, Black Duck.
Okay.
So a little bit of a new thing for me here. I feel new, if that.
Well, I don't know if they've filled you much in on our particular properties and what the concerns are, any of that, have they?
I mean, yes, I have been getting a lot of information on it. Of course, I feel it takes a little while for me to get comfortable with the properties. You know, I've only had the chance to really visit them about one time so far. But I did talk with Angie in detail about some stuff, and we made sure to go over, you know, any questions she assumed might be asked here today.
So I think the biggest concern is financials, number one.
Yep,
Every month,
absolutely.
because we
Yep.
have, is it Meadowview or Meadows Edge, that's the one that's problematic. But they've been problematic rent-wise and having tenants stay and long.
Yes, yep.
And we're teetering on the edge of just making it.
So I
Those
did,
two, so that's the importance of having the monthly
Absolutely,
thing.
yep.
And then, the other thing on top of that is, that's always been kind of bothersome to me, and I speak for myself, but, the accounts receivable is way high.
okay,
And so those are things I wanna see worked on. One of the concerns I had was, sometimes we do these $99 rents to fill the apartments, and I'm not so sure that's a good way of getting a quality tenant in the building.
I
Deposit,
agree
not
with you
rent.
on that. I do
Deposit.
not like the
Compound.
$99 deposit special. It leaves us nothing to work with at the end of that tenancy.
Yeah.
It's something that I often push for us to not do. I'd rather do, if you're gonna do away with the deposit, why not just do first month's rent or something, you
That's
know?
right.
And so, at least then we have something to kind of go back
Show
on.
me they can come up with at least 1 month's rent.
Yes.
As a deposit, otherwise, I'm like, you might be setting yourself up for
Yep.
more accounts receivable problems.
Yep. So, actually, our rent roll for a lot of these properties is on Tuesday morning, and I had to reschedule that to Thursday because of today's board meeting, but I can talk with them about rent specials and try to do something there to change things up a little bit, just
Yeah.
so. Cause I do agree with you on that.
And then we're always just, I know a couple of us are concerned, it's like, one seems to rent better than the other. Is there something wrong inside the other one? Is there a cultural issue, or are we just getting bad tenants that are causing new people not to wanna come? What is it? There's something going on.
Yep.
And we don't know exactly what that is, but.
And so I assume you're talking about Meadows Edge and View right now, is that right? Yeah, it looks like Meadowview does a little bit better, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, that's a very good question, and one
Part
that
of
I'll
that is
certainly
debt
look into.
structure, but from a rental standpoint,
But from
one
a
definitely
rental-
does better than the other.
It's the same for the rental structure. View does tend to be, full more often or fuller than Edge. And they're identical buildings that were built a year apart. So, it is kind of a dilemma.
Yeah, and I don't know if they shared with you too, that our intent with these two buildings were to be market rate. So we don't wanna accept subsidized stuff.
Okay. So by that, do you mean that you're not wanting to allow people that have housing vouchers that we can accept to come in and utilize those vouchers?
I think,
For section 8?
We prefer the rents to be structured so that they are market.
Okay,
And would generally be on the lower end of the market, but tend to be higher than the fair market rent.
okay. Makes sense. So still inviting enough, but you still want that obligation that you can kind of,
yeah, our goal with it was to have people fill employment positions in town that were, because we had businesses that couldn't find help.
yep,
So we want employable people renting those apartments.
okay, perfect. Yeah, something we can certainly look into. And again, still getting to know those two properties quite a bit, still even getting to know the staff. But the good thing is that Angie knows these properties well too, so I can always,
So
touch base
is
with her.
Angie moved to a different, are you replacing someone or just adding to someone?
So, Angie technically is not really supposed to have properties. She's kind of the training person for us regionals.
Okay,
Previously, it was Stacy Clear, who I don't know if you guys all ever met her, but she was a regional manager for 6 months or so. And then she moved to Arizona.
Oh.
So at that point, my old properties were kind of at a place where they'd be really easy to hand off to an incoming regional. So I threw my hat in for These are only an hour away, and I was driving almost 4 hours before, so I came out on top, I'd say. But yes, I'm now taking over the regional position for Park Rapids. So
Thank you.
Angie's just involved as much as needed to kind of get me up to speed.
Okay, thank you.
So
for
yeah,
that.
we're a little surprised why we're struggling at rents when all the data and the things shows there's not enough housing.
Yes,
You
yep.
would think you would be full most of the time, except for the typical turnover you might have.
Well, and you know, there's some tools that we can use too. We can reach out to some organizations that we work with and get like rent comparability studies too, and see if maybe there's a vacancy issue, you know, across the board or something. And or oftentimes they can give us information on what we can do to market those units better too. So we can look into that stuff.
So Rob, with your experience, people that are in arrears on their rent payments, do they tend to damage the apartments more? I guess I'm kind of thinking is if they're behind, you know, 2 months, 3 months, you know, where's the cutoff point where we do something? And then, like I say, historically, has it been like these are the apartments that get damaged, or is it the person that's paying his rent every month is damaging the apartments?
It can be quite a toss-up, and I would say it comes down to the area more than how the building is structured. I will say that we tend to see what you're talking about. You know, if somebody knows that they're going to be getting kicked out of a unit, there's more evidence that they would treat that unit poorly at an affordable property. I do not see that happen as much as like at market rate properties. But again, me being new to Park Rapids, I don't exactly know what the clientele at our market rates is like yet. So I wouldn't want to make, you know, that assumption. But I think you had asked at one point, you know, at which point do we do something about this when they're in debt? So at our affordable properties, we have to wait until their unpaid balance exceeds 1.5 times their monthly rent. At a market rate property, we can file an eviction if they are 1 month behind. So at the market rate properties, let's say they don't pay their March rent. On March 15th, they will get a termination notice. At an affordable property, they would have to not pay a month's rent and then not pay the following month's rent as well before they got a termination notice. So we do try to act swiftly on that because especially at the market properties where the rents are higher, those numbers build up very quickly. You know, and I did pull some delinquent and prepaid reports from our software, and you know, getting into it, I do see that there are some what look to be people that were kicked out. There's some legal charges, damage charges, cleaning charges. So I would say the correlation lies more with I tend to see those that get evicted, their units are not in as great a shape.
Okay.
So.
My concern with all that is like, I don't know with some of those if we were really being aggressive enough, early enough.
Yeah, yep.
And I don't want to see it get to what you're seeing on the paper there anymore. You know?
Exactly,
And then-
yep.
And maybe aggressive isn't the right word too, because previous to DW-Jones, we used to have a manager, and she was a little more flexible in that she would visit with these people weekly and sometimes get partial payments. Because once they get so far behind, they're doomed.
Yeah.
We've basically doomed them.
Yep.
And it's just a matter of time of going through the process then to evict them. And you want to avoid that if you can.
Yep. So what we kind of do to try to avoid evictions, well, avoiding going to court, which costs money, but also avoiding getting to that point. So we're not
Right.
building that balance up so far. I won't say every regional at DW-Jones does it, but we do have the ability to approach that resident and say, you know, you got to give us a move-out notice, or you have to sign this mutual agreement, and it will avoid you having an eviction on your record. So that's something I try to do quite a bit, just because evictions are a lot of work and they are expensive. Another piece of that too is, you know, our protocol at DW-Jones is that we are required to inspect our affordable properties at least once a year. We are not required
to inspect the market properties. And that's only because we don't get inspected by these agencies, you know, but we can still do that. So, we can focus on getting those units inspected this year and then just get eyes on, you know, like you said earlier, somebody might be paying their rent, but they might be destroying that unit. So, we can do our best to catch those things.
Yeah. So for me, again, in summary, it comes down to the financials again. Number two, trying to figure out why are we struggling to get our rental units filled up?
Yep.
And B, how can we make that collection piece better?
Yes,
Accounts
yep.
receivable better.
No, we certainly can. It takes us all kind of learning how to work together, and, I mean, we've got good staff, so just getting everybody on the same page and what we need to look for and watch out for. And oftentimes, because I can't be at the property every day, I'll have my site staff suggest to me, you know, if they ever hear or see anything about a unit that I might need to get into and take a peek at, to try to catch these things before they snowball, so. Shoot, I did have a question, now I've forgotten what it was. It'll come to me.
I'm assuming if you've had a long-term tenant that's always paid on time, and then all of a sudden isn't, you know, misses their rent or something, like you say, so you communicate with these people then, and?
Yeah, so our accounting department builds a monthly spreadsheet for us for everybody who's delinquent enough to have received a termination notice. And what we then do, we usually get them about a month before, you know, their date arrives. So that day that spreadsheet comes out, we start calling, reaching out to that resident, knocking on their door, trying to figure out, you know, do you have a plan in place to get this balance paid? Are you able to? If not, do you think you can handle a payment plan? We can offer payment plans. Or again, we can have that conversation with them about the possibility of submitting a notice to vacate.
Because I know things happen.
They do, and we try our best to work with folks like that. I mean, there's very little that we can do except refer them out. So I've, you know, tons of organizations that we work with, and I've had a lot of success referring people out to them, and oftentimes we can get people, you know, back to square one on their unpaid balance just by making a few phone calls.
Alrighty. Any more questions? And did you have some for us you were thinking? I can't remember.
Let's see here. I know we've got a couple questions. So we had talked about Regency earlier with the money available for some of the remodel, right? We do have that unit 304, and I believe there was a moisture issue in the bathroom, which I've talked with Justin about to try to get that, let's get that fixed as soon as possible. The carpet, or the flooring in that unit needs to be done. I know that that's probably part of this grant money. From what I understand, there's a possibility that we could have a resident to fill that unit in April. Would
Okay.
there be any possibility of expediting that one unit?
More than likely.
Okay.
We would probably have to make that outside of the grant, but we can figure that out. The key about that whole thing is that I think it's our desire to have the same flooring throughout the entire building.
Yeah.
And we want it VCT, so that long-term replacement becomes very easy, and we can then buy replacement flooring by the pallet, and then just have it available. So ideally, we would have all of the same everywhere.
Yep.
So we would have to make a selection of the flooring that would be appropriate, so that we could move that apartment along.
Perfect. And like I said earlier, I'll have my rent roll with the leasing agents today, so it could be a wash. I don't know yet, but the possibility is there, so I just wanted to ask. And then we just wanted to get an update on that CNA, but you had touched on that. It sounds like they're working on it, right? The capital needs assessment that was done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is, the last I talked to ICS, they were entering it, everything in and getting ready to do a training, so.
Okay.
I should hear within the next couple
Perfect.
weeks, so.
Sounds great. Other than that, the only other thing that I had for you, you had mentioned the lighting at Regency as well. From what I understand, the incorrect lighting was sent. The style of lighting that was sent is actually for a drop-down style ceiling. So they're hanging lights. Justin's been trying to reach the vendor to get those returned, because the shipping company wouldn't do anything for him. I have not gotten an update on that yet. I wasn't sure if you were aware of that.
I was not, I didn't even know that you had ordered the lights.
They were there when I took, I thought that this was all part of that project. I wasn't sure who ordered them.
Well, the expectation was, but we can't order without bids, so.
Okay.
Ordering them would disqualify it from reimbursement from the grant funds.
Okay,
I
let me
wasn't
touch base with
aware.
Angie and Justin on that, because that was, I thought that that was part of it, but I'll figure out what's going on there.
And I know that we talked about the lights because there's several that weren't working,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't realize that they had been ordered.
Okay. I will figure that out for you. Other than that, I think that's about it. I will talk to our accountant today about getting those monthly reports for you. Were those reports like all encompassing financials? Or are you guys just talking about delinquent prepaids or something like that?
Balance sheets and
Okay.
profit and loss.
Perfect.
On each property.
We
Okay.
had a full owner's packet of reports that were come. They're actually stipulated in the management plan.
Okay.
There's about 8 reports, and then in addition, I got an Excel trial balance each month.
Perfect.
The last one that was sent, Teresa forwarded, and that was for the December reports. But we had received them monthly prior to that.
Okay.
I also do know that you, your accountant, and her name escapes me right now, was working with RealPage to get a summary report. So
Okay.
we would get individual reports, but then there was going to be some key information that would be summarized between all 4 properties. So it would be easy for the board to just glance at the activity for the organization.
Perfect, okay. Nope, that should be easy stuff to pull together. I do apologize, I'm not sure where that might have gotten lost in translation, but we'll figure it out for you. And then if I can pull something together quickly, do we just forward everything to you and then, okay, perfect. Sounds great, anything else?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Great to meet you guys. And then, are these quarterly or monthly?
Monthly.
Okay, sounds great.
Typically, we haven't had DW Jones come, we're trying to have it be on a quarterly basis,
Okay.
so that we would have the ability to have conversations one-on-one
Perfect.
about the properties.
Sounds great, okay, thank you guys.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Alrighty, that worked out pretty good here. We're almost ready for 11:30. Okay, it is now 11:30. So we will move on to 6A, the public hearing, 11:30, disposition of HRA-EDA owned property.
We'll need a motion to close the meeting and open the public hearing.
So move.
Thank you, Shar.
Second.
Thank you, Tom. And I'm guessing Mary takes it away?
Mm-hmm.
Per the requirements of the state statute that is listed, it's 469-105 or .105. The HRA has to hold a public hearing prior to the disposition of any property, finding that it is in the best interest for selling or disposing of the property, that it is advisable. And so the public hearing allows members of the public to appear and provide comment for or against the action of the sale. So this is the hearing portion of that. We, prior to this, did request or put out an RFP for someone interested in actually purchasing it. That was acted on and March 3rd, and then based on that preliminary selection and designation, it was awarded, and now this land is for the sale to Brian Hammett with Hammerfit Gym for the purpose of development of a new gym facility.
And even though we have a public hearing, and there appears to be no public. So,
I don't see any.
So does the board have any questions about the process?
I actually could give a comment that was given to me from someone in the public
Okay,
who
perfect.
is very involved in fitness and is really excited about this. It would have been a great loss to the community to lose a Hammerfit.
Yes, I agree. Okay then, if there's nothing further, I guess-
Motion to close?
yeah, motion to close and reopen.
I'll move.
I'll second.
David, thank you, Shar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are now back open. And that then would take us to 8A. Determine to dispose of HRA-EDA owned property.
So having had the public hearing and allowing public comment, of which we heard none, then the HRA in this agenda item can make the actual determination that the sale of the property is advisable, and then instruct staff to enter into a purchase agreement. The purchase agreement that was attached to the packet is the one that we had the attorney prepare for us, which does cover all of the things that are required of a public entity, an HRA, specifically EDA selling property. The two things that are specific with regard to HRA-EDA property is, number one, the purchaser needs to convert the property to its expected use within a year. So generally, HRAs are not providing property for speculation. There's really an end goal for that property. And then if for some reason this property, the owner is interested in selling, they have to receive HRA-EDA permission within the first year of ownership. Again, that really does sort of limit that speculation, and a purchaser capitalizing on, quote, a good deal in order then to really maximize their own benefit at the expense of the public. The purchase agreement is for the full purchase price of $88,000, and then they would have to provide 20% earnest money, and then we would schedule the closing to occur with Hubbard County Title and Abstract at the convenience of the purchaser making, all of the steps happen.
Okay. And do you have anything set up currently with the purchaser?
Actually, he was supposed to come today, but I don't know, they must have had something happen. Oh, thank you. So due to unforeseen circumstances, they were not able to attend today. We have been in very close contact on a pretty regular basis. What I do know is that they have also submitted the planning documents to the city, so they are fully intending to move forward with this. It is contingent upon this sale actually happening today, and so as soon as they can, they'll sign the purchase agreement and really move forward.
Okay,
So,
good news.
Based on the
Motion?
results of the public hearing, I think it's appropriate that I'll move, it's advisable to instruct our staff to enter into a purchase agreement with the selected developer.
I will second that.
David, and thank you, Shar. Any further discussion? I just want to say, touch on what Shar had said too. I think this is a good thing for the community. And with that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. And I guess we move on to the director's report.
okay. I did already go over the Regency and the financial information, but there's a couple things that I do want to update you on. First of all, the non-disclosure agreement bill is flying through the legislature on both sides. It has already passed House Committee and has been sent to House floor. It's House File 407. And then the Senate side, I didn't get the bill number on that, but it's in committee right now and is expected to also be approved. The theory behind it, and I think really it's overwhelmingly as a result of the data center sort of advancement. A lot of data centers they're coming in and asking for NDAs, and then people are getting blindsided and really not getting, having an allowability to comment on those. And as a result, the legislature is really throwing up a complete and total roadblock for NDAs, because there are certain circumstances when NDAs are really beneficial to communities. And it really is a way to negotiate things that are really not for public consumption, before you get to the point where you actually have to bring the public in. And this bill doesn't not only prohibit them moving forward, it nullifies all of the ones that are already in place.
Wow.
So that's really a concern, and could change the landscape of a lot of development and sort of make things weird. I think that the unintended consequence is going to be that organizations such as ours, which is a nonprofit, is going to enter into places to be able to be the entities that are taking on those NDAs on behalf of public entities, because they don't apply to us. So I think that that could be one thing that we're seeing as a result of this. And I think that development all over Minnesota is going to take a very different look. So I'm concerned about the bill, but at this point, based on all of the conversations that I've had, I don't think there's a darn thing that anybody's gonna do about it.
Even under your scenario though of a nonprofit taking it on, and if you're working with a government entity for support on a particular project, you're not gonna be able to.
We're not gonna be able to have
Function.
any conversations. I mean, there's businesses that are sensitive to some of their proprietary data and don't necessarily want to know the extent of what they're doing because of competition or whatever it is. And so I think it's gonna be very challenging to attract businesses when they want to. I mean, when they get down the road, they understand that it's all gonna become public because we have to have our hearings and we have to do all of those things. But all of that early negotiation, and we're not, we have to disclose or we can't keep any of that confidential is gonna be a whole different landscape, and I think is gonna be challenging until we figure out how to sort of make it work.
So I'm assuming AMC is all over this.
AMC is, League of Minnesota Cities is, the farmers, actually, we had made a MAPSED meeting, Minnesota Association of County Economic Developers. We had that last week, and one of our members is part of the Farmers Union, and actually, most organizations seem to be leaning on the side of really wanting it. So I think that there's very few that, other than the true economic developers, that are cautioning that this is kind of a big deal, so.
Is there broad support on both sides of the aisle? And as part of this, how farmland even is being sold to foreign entities?
Yeah,
That bill has a chance of getting through the split house then?
I think so. I think that it's flying through. I have not heard any legislative, I haven't spoke to any of the legislators, but I have not heard that there is any, really disagreement with that. MAPSED is actually doing their day at the Capitol with EDAM, which is the Economic Development of Minnesota. Their day at the Capitol is today. And I did sort of suggest that they should be having conversations with legislators about this. But again, what I'm hearing is overwhelmingly this bill has solid support in both the House and Senate on both sides of the aisle, and it's intended to go through. House File 407,
It's not 407.
oh, that's what I had on the,
No, 407 is a capital request for a
Oh.
food shelf.
oh, okay.
So Mary, there's,
So anyway, and what I'm most concerned about is the backwards looking. I mean, we entered into agreements with businesses that, have an expectation that their information is private, and now those are null and void, which I think is concerning, because we've pulled the carpet out from businesses.
so there's numerous articles that I've read that say that Minnesota is not a business-friendly state. Do you know the surrounding states, where they stand? Do they have they done anything to enact legislation like this?
I haven't seen anything. And Minnesota is becoming even less business friendly.
Yeah.
It's really tough. It's really tough to attract and retain businesses in Minnesota.
So the non-disclosure agreements that I have signed, how can I put this? I guess to those businesses that have asked me to sign those, I'm not going to be revealing anything. I don't think it's proper. If I have residents who are concerned, I can talk to them about it, but I'm not gonna give them any details type of a thing. I'm wondering too that if a company asks you not to divulge anything, if that would hold any water compared to signing an NDA. I mean, if somebody came to me wanting to do something in Hubbard County, especially my district, and it was a big deal, but they didn't, like, for all the reasons not to let it out, I guess I want them to know that I know how to be discreet and.
And I think that, time will tell how, and we probably are going to have to get legal advice on how to move forward if and when this bill gets passed, so that, we are appropriate in what we can and cannot say, and we're appropriate on when we can and cannot say it. And what does that mean, and where does the protection start and stop? And does it mean that, a business comes to me and I have to disclose every business that I've talked to at a meeting? What is, so there's some of this, how do we make the policy, or make the implementation of this. And so there's an implementation portion of that we have to all figure out. So, yeah, I don't know exactly what that all means as far as disclosure and when we have to talk about it. There was nothing in the language of the bill that specifically said, okay, this is, as soon as something happens, you have to talk about it. It just right now is saying you can't sign these, but is that really a different practice other than having signed an NDA? So I have a couple things that are not listed on this, and one is that I just wanted to make you aware that because of the recording of Heartland Heights plat and the road for Finley, you signed, as you recall, at our meeting, the plat, which designates the easement as part of that plat in order to build out that road. There is a requirement that all of the taxes for this year be paid in order to record that plat. And therefore, you saw the check and approved it as part of the list of bills to pay the taxes for the vacant lot, which you just sold. And so you'll get the prorated share of that back. And then we paid the taxes for the Meadowview and Meadows Edge in their entirety, based on the estimated taxes, because of course we don't have the actual tax bill yet. That is not over and above what would have normally been paid, it's just early. So just want to let you know that it wasn't a cost that was outside of something that you would normally pay. Your checking fund balance had more than adequate resources to take care of that, so it won't be an issue. And then it will be sort of a benefit to those two properties that those taxes have been prepaid. So I just wanted to make you aware of sort of why we did that. So. And just as an aside, we're opening bids for Heartland Heights construction on Thursday. Our engineer's estimate tells us that we're going to be within the money that we have set aside. We'll see on Thursday. Our HLDC is meeting on Monday, which we will actually award the bids, with construction expected to start the minute that they can.
Snow leaves.
Yeah, a
Ground
couple
flies.
of the contractors asked if there was gonna be anything that would delay their start, and there isn't. And so,
Weather.
the weather. But we have gotten the federal funds released, and so that process has all been taken care of. The city of Park Rapids has agreed to a loan to help facilitate any of the shortfall of those funds, so we are ready to go.
Good news.
So,
Thank you.
pretty exciting.
And when the taxes are paid, the plat can be recorded. The parcels can get IDs and addresses, and you can start
Right.
selling them.
Yes, except I have to figure out why the other parcel didn't get split yet, but that's, when I get done here, I'll be going downstairs to figure that out.
Hey.
That's all I have, unless you have any questions about anything else going on.
I don't think I do. Thank you, Mary. Does anybody else have anything to bring before? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, David. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Alicia will have checks, HLDC checks for you. She said she'd have them done